Does it work? Hey everyone, hope all are doing well. Hans here as per usual. Um, Today I'm going to talk about something more light-hearted, I suppose. So I think to some it will still be interesting, something to contemplate. It's been an amazingly, if you will, quiet week for me. I've been talking to my friends as per usual, but no heavy-handed topics, nothing too serious. Suppose a lot of contemplation going all around, and like looking at each other, pointing, giving each other pointers, reminders, which I think is good. There are still many good people who surround themselves with horrible individuals, a bad crowd, as they call that, people that get dragged down by these hyenas, and well, they're good people. They want to do the right thing, so many of us are slowly getting into a more proactive attitude, which is excellent. We were gonna go to those good people and say, no, no, come with us, talk with us, and stay away from those scumbags. It's excellent. That is exactly what we require. Which I suppose, yeah. What can I say? The consequence of that is that I am not as approached as much, but that is okay, that's good. It's about all of us, it's not just about me. And that's a good thing. So what am I going to talk about? Let's get to the interesting part. I was thinking, I've made a video. Has it been 2 months or 3 months already? Maybe even 4. Time has been flying on my part. But I made a video about the Furious One, as I call him. Or that is one of his names, I suppose. And some of you might have seen that video, some may have not. It's where I explain a little bit about my perception of that specific deity. And it's not about me telling you how it is me telling everyone who is interested on how I look at it. How it or how this deity inspires me. And the last has not been said there. The deity is millennia old. Is as old as our people. That's beyond millennia. um, I'm not gonna do it justice in one video, right? Nobody of us could. But I wanted to talk now about another deity, and I'm gonna call him the Guardian. And the Guardian is a deity that also inspires me very much. And everyone knows him by another name. Maybe throughout this video, as I speak about him a bit more, you may be thinking, that fella maybe. At the end of the video you'll know though, who I'm going on about, if the Guardian isn't clear enough. But what is the Guardian? The stories about him basically revolve around him being on watch and letting people pass through to the other world. And I find, whereas that is I suppose partially what he does. Oh, and then there are of course a few stories where he leaves his post and he goes and fights with those who are supposedly malicious, or at least whom he perceives as being a potential threat to the people, to the gods, if you will. I think it's still an injustice, in a certain sense. It gives a very most basic perception of what he is about, in my opinion. Some things that I've garnered out of it, however, out of the Guardian, is that he is at this post, if you will, because he wants to be, not because he is paid or has to be or is destined to. He chooses that for himself. Now, why would any man do that? Or a deity? It's because he cares. Why else? And you don't see that in the stories. Maybe back in the day, it's just something that was assumed. It's like, yeah, it's just a normal thing. And in this day and age, we've kind of forgotten that. It's possible. It's not about pointing fingers. But then, I suppose this may be the reminder, right? Something that will make most guys and women probably as well think like, yeah, might make sense. So, he chooses his post because he cares, because he wants to look after people. And he is underestimated because there are other deities that are more glamorous, are a bit more well known, popular. Whereas his task is damn essential because he is the first one out of all deities, if you will, that is going to, what is that word? Is going to warn, going to send out warning. He is the one that knows that something is wrong before any general does, before any man that rules, any man or woman that is, responsible for taking care of a household, meaning all the people involved and animals. He is the one who will be the first in line, the very first in line, before any of the what you might call warrior deities even knows what is happening. The warrior deities kinda need him a lot. And the guardian isn't a pushover either. He does fight. He is someone who can fend for himself, alright? Except then that he chooses to fend for others. Selfless. Empathic. That means something. It truly does. This is not a deity, or some might say that this deity, the guardian if you will, reminds of security guards, reminds of police officers, reminds of soldiers. And I don't really think so. Or he could. If the individual soldier, police officer, security guard is there, not because of the paycheck, but because they care. In that case, yes. The moment it's about paychecks, it's about just doing your job, no. Nothing like that. Or at least I do not think so. That would make no sense to me. None of our gods are about a paycheck, now that I think about it. So yeah, what then? Vigilantes, perhaps? But I mean that in the truest sense of the word. Those who have eyes and ears to see when their family, their friends, their people, maybe even the land itself, is in danger. And decide to say, well, if the forces that be are letting all of this be destroyed, or are even complicit in that destruction, the vigilante will stand up and say, I'm gonna cut through that red tape. I'm gonna cut through the legal fiction, or the illegal fiction, what have you. And I'm just gonna do what is right. I'm gonna start defending people. I'm gonna start defending the land. Which is, by the way, also a very different attitude from I'm going to push the foe out. I know to many it seems like the same thing, but motivation counts. This deity does it to protect people, not to harm others. If, however, those he protects, if he needs to get between those he protects and those who want to harm those he protects, well, then it speaks for itself, right? It's as if an anti-white shows up to him with clear intent to harm, to harm this deity's people. Yeah, he's a god of our people, so of course he's a white guy. He, how shall one put it? Yeah, he will do what is necessary to stop the anti-white. And that is something everyone who is sane will agree with. Only other anti-whites take issue with that. So, I think, yeah, vigilantes, patriots, but actual patriots. Not those who are partisans for any government or what have you. Not really. Patriots, again, those who stand up for their people, those who stand up for the land itself. That is who this deity is inspiring for, as far as I see it. There are perhaps others of our deities who do the same. I just don't know them. If there are, and you know any, maybe you should share that. Could be very important. I'm pretty certain it is important. Alright. So, what is this deity inspired for me? Well, I have a history in, shall we call it, without doxing myself, I guess. Let's call it protection. I have a history with protecting people, protecting property, being responsible for them, and being a physical wall between them and anyone that would hurt them. I have been in a situation, where a riot was to break out. Everything was fine, by the way, and I have never needed to, and I'm glad for that, I never needed to harm anyone. But I've had that experience now. And it's not since then, like the deity was, I was aware of the deity before that, but that line of work, if you will, no, it did teach me a thing or two, right? And the deity did speak a bit more to me. It's also about not just standing up yourself and getting in the way, it's about inspiring others to come with. It's like, I say vigilante, and it's perhaps interesting to explore that word because it's from Latin, and I know some of my friends don't like Latin, given that it's been turned into, what have you. Getting into that another time. But vigilis, I believe, vigiles, they were, I think it translates to something as being aware, being watchful, being alert. I think alert is maybe even one of the best terms to translate it as. The alert ones, the vigilantes. It's interesting to think about that, right? If you live in a society where vigilante is something that is looked upon with a, what do you call that? Children, cover your ears with a shitty eye. It's with an unpleasant, it's a word that is frowned upon, actions which are frowned upon, and it's in and of itself it says a lot, because is that normal? Vigilantes in Roman society, at least in, of course it changed, as the Roman Empire became, as Rome became empire, thus decadent, thus softies, or became softened, or they became softies, however you want to put it. Vigilantes started meaning something different, perhaps near the end. But in the beginning, when Rome was just, how does the story go? 7 families on 7 hills or something. Let's go with that image. The vigilantes were the men of these families who, for whichever reason, they might have been great sprinters, they might have been great wrestlers, fighters, what have you. They might have just got great set of eyes, great hearing, what have you, knew the lay of the land. And their main task for the community, between all kinds of work that they had to do, uncertain, were always the ones that showed up if there was trouble. I think, as they became empire, the vigilantes became, I think in some video games they inspired themselves on that idea. They became what you might call screening forces, reconnaissance, something like that. When it all became more official and it all was paperwork based in the end, rather than just natural reaction of men that care for their family and friends, and again the land. The Guardian, if you will, a sort of an embodiment of that. Where to take it from there? I find, the reason why I bring that up is I find it just very interesting, very inspiring, and something of our people. It's just what some of our men, if not all of us, when we're healthy, what we do. And certainly some women too, if not all women, when they're healthy. It just takes a little bit of a different shape, I suppose, but nonetheless. And what do vigilantes do when they see trouble? Again, they go warn everyone, and then they come back with, under the command of whomever is the commander, the chieftain, what have you. I really don't like saying that. The ones who are the bestest when it comes to fighty stuff, if you will. The most experienced, the most skilled guy, the most insightful guy that I have in the family, who knows what he's doing. Because all these titles and what have you, it's all so poisoned and so abused. Yeah. It's about the willingness to say to yourself, I have seen a threat, I have seen injury be done, and I'm gonna be a shield for my people. That is who the Guardian is, as I see it, as I understand it. And even though I have had that history of doing such things, I still feel that responsibility, because that is crucial. Do you feel responsible? Do you feel responsible enough to put the energy and time in to sacrifice that on behalf of those you care for? This is not just something about, oh, here are the facts, here are the statistics. No, it's about actual stories of people too. It's about someone that is known, someone with a face, a name, a family that might have been injured by whomever threatened him or her, I guess. And to share that with others and say, do you care enough? Do you care enough to come with me and go back and right their wrong of those who injured him or her. Do you light the beacon? Do you resound the clarion? To those who are sitting in their houses, cooking, talking, to those who are busy with their job, making some other guy rich while they scrape by to get through the end of the month. Yeah. That is what the Guardian, above most other things, inspires, I would argue. Very important deity to me. And it's not about liking him more or less than the Furious One. They're both important. They both bring something to the conversation. They both bring some form of inspiration. It may look similar to what they're doing, but they each have their own speciality. All I can say is go watch the Furious One video if you want to know more about that. I don't, the device I have, it doesn't grant me enough time to go in even deeper or bring the Furious One into this conversation. It's about the Guardian. So, guess I'll leave it here for now. I think this was good. Just my thoughts. Maybe also helps people with their perception on, well, what do you think about the gods? The whole thing with altars and candles and offering whatever they call offering, drinking milk at the altar and repeating a deity's name. Those who want to do that, they're more than welcome to. It's not for me though. That is not my approach. Action is important because action gets things done. Sitting at an altar and doing such things, it's most of all for yourself, which is okay. If it helps you relax, if it fills your heart with warmth, it gives you the energy to keep going with life, then definitely do so. All I can say to everyone involved is, there are things that need to be done if you want a better future. That requires action. That's point one. Second point is, you do not tell someone else how you do it, or you do not demand from them they do it your way. You do what works for you, let them do what works for them, and you work together. Or you both do your own project and you simply do not get in each other's way, so long as it's of course for the well-being of our people, right? I think that's clear enough. You guys, I know you have a brain, excellent brains, excellent minds. You figure this out easily enough. I'm certain of that. I trust you in that. So, there is one more thing. I like to write poetry once in a while. From last New Year, I've written something that I've recited. I might actually do it again, the same one this year, or the change of at Old Year and New Year. I might do a new one, or do the same one again. Depends a bit. I've also done one for Halloween, as it is more commonly called these days. And I have so much more, so many lyrics and poems hidden. But I think I'm going to share one with you all now. And you, I suppose you'll let me know if you like it or not. Well, one more thing. If we get to see the comments below, right? because I do know they're being deleted. Guys, that's not my doing, just so you're aware. It really isn't. There are some comments on there, they're like there for a day, 2 days, poof, gone. If you notice your own comments being deleted, not my doing, just so you know. So yeah, maybe some people delete their